Hello there, and welcome to the Drowsy Scientist channel. Tonight we're drifting into the quiet, curious world of cats. These soft-footed companions have shared our homes, our stories, and our nights for thousands of years. Yet they still move through our lives with an air of mystery. They are familiar and unknowable at the same time. A warm presence at the foot of the bed, a sudden flash of movement in the dark, a calm gaze that feels older than words. Cats live between worlds, part wild hunter, part devoted companion. They listen to sounds we never notice, sense changes we barely feel, and navigate their days guided by instincts shaped long before cities, lights, or clocks. The more closely you look, the more astonishing they become. As we wander through this gentle exploration, you may find yourself seeing cats differently, not just as pets, but as finely tuned little universes of biology, history, and behavior, all wrapped in fur and silence. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here, too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, there's nothing you need to do but relax. Let your breathing soften. Let your eyes grow heavy, and allow the day to fade away as we explore these marvelous little creatures together. Let's begin. Long before anyone thought of cats as pets, people began storing harvested grain, and grain drew mice. Like a magnet, that simple chain reaction created a new kind of meeting place. Wild cats that were bold enough to linger near villages found easy prey, and humans found an unexpected ally. The cats that tolerated our noise and movement ate well, survived better, and raised more kittens in safer corners. Over generations, the friendliest hunters stayed close, and the most skittish ones kept their distance. It was not a single moment of capture. It was a slow negotiation shaped by four bellies and mutual advantage. Even today, you can still see it in the way many cats choose when to approach, when to retreat, and how they keep one foot in the wild while living beside us. A cat's purr can vibrate through your bones even during deep sleep. If you have ever held a purring cat against your chest, you know it is not only a sound. It is a physical presence like a tiny engine humming with purpose. Those steady vibrations can travel through fabric, skin, and rib cage, turning the body into a quiet resonator. For the cat, purring can appear in comfort, in closeness, and sometimes even in moments of stress, like a self-soothing rhythm. Kittens purr while nursing, and mothers purr back, creating a soft guidance system in the dark. People often describe the feeling as strangely calming, as if the room itself has settled. It is one of the few animal sounds that can be both intimate and enveloping at the same time. In a world full of sharp noises, a purr is gentle, continuous, and surprisingly powerful. Cats see in dim light far better than humans, but not in total darkness. A cat at night can seem almost supernatural, slipping through a shadowy hallway as if it carries its own lantern. The secret is not magic, and it is not night vision like a camera. It is a design tuned for twilight. Cats are most active around dawn and dusk when prey is moving and light is scarce. Their eyes are built to collect what little light exists, making a moonlit room feel brighter to them than it does to us. That does not mean they can see when there is truly no light at all. In a pitch-black space, they are navigating with other senses, especially hearing and touch. But give them a faint glow from a street lamp, a hallway night light, or a thin slice of moon, and suddenly their world becomes readable. To a cat, darkness often has texture. Your cat's whiskers act as touch sensors, finely tuned for tight spaces. Whiskers are not just extra hairs. They are specialized tools that help a cat measure the world without looking at it. Each one is rooted deeper than normal fur and connected to nerves that pick up tiny changes in air movement and contact. When a cat approaches a narrow opening, those whiskers can help judge whether the body will fit, almost like built-in tape measures. They also help a cat map objects nearby in low light, feeling the shape of a table edge, a doorway, or a moving hand. You can often see whiskers angle forward when curiosity rises, then sweep back when a cat feels uncertain. They are part of how cats move with such smooth confidence, especially in unfamiliar places. And because whiskers are so sensitive, rough handling around the face can feel overwhelming. To a cat, whiskers are information, not decoration. Cats communicate with scent using invisible chemical messages called pheromones. Much of a cat's social world is written in the language you cannot see. Pheromones are chemical signals that carry meaning, and cats leave them behind like quiet notes pinned to the air. A rub against furniture, a gentle pass along a doorway, or a careful sniff of a familiar corner can all be part of this exchange. These scent messages can help cats recognize safe places, identify who has been nearby, and reduce tension by making an environment feel known. It is why a cat may spend time investigating a new bag, a visitor's shoes, or a room that has been rearranged. From the cat's point of view, smell is not just about food. It is about context. It is about comfort. It is about boundaries and belonging. While humans rely heavily on sight, cats often trust what their nose tells them first. Their world is layered with invisible meaning. A cat's spine is built for sudden twists, which helps save them during falls. Cats have a body designed for quick decisions in midair. When a fall begins, the spine can bend and rotate with remarkable agility, allowing the front half and back half to adjust separately. That flexibility helps the cat reorient, spreading limbs and preparing for landing with a precision that looks effortless. It is part of why cats often land on their feet, especially from moderate heights, though falls can still cause serious injury. This twisting ability is connected to a broader way of moving. Cats leap, pivot, and thread through obstacles with a fluidity that makes their whole body seem like one continuous spring. Watch a cat change direction during play, and you will see the same design at work. The spine is not just a stack of bones. It is a dynamic tool built for sudden turns, quick balance corrections, and controlled power. Even the playful jump carries that ancient engineering. Cats were worshipped, legally protected, and deeply mourned in ancient Egypt. In ancient Egypt, cats were not simply tolerated. They were woven into daily life, law, and belief. A cat protected stored food by hunting pests, and that practical value grew into cultural reverence. Cats became associated with Bastard, a goddess linked to protection, home, and fertility. In some periods, harming a cat could bring severe punishment, showing how strongly society defended them. Families sometimes mourned cats with rituals that signaled real grief, not casual loss. Archaeological finds include cat burials and artwork that treats them with respect and tenderness, placing them close to humans in scenes of home life. This is one of the earliest large-scale examples of a community building rules and meaning around an animal companion. It also hints at something familiar today. When people live closely with cats, they often begin to see them as more than hunters. They become symbols of safety, grace, and quiet power. Many cats talk to humans with meows they rarely use with other cats. Adult cats do not rely on meowing as their main way of speaking to each other. With other cats, they use posture, scent, and subtle sounds that rarely match the dramatic meows we hear at home. But with humans, many cats develop a special vocal style, almost like they have discovered what works on us. Some meows are short and bright, others are drawn out, and some become so specific, but owners swear they can tell them apart. Over time, cats often adjust their sounds based on what gets a response. Whether that is food, a door opening, or attention on the couch, it becomes a shared routine shaped by feedback and familiarity. This is part of what makes living with a cat feel like a relationship rather than ownership. The cat is not only expressing needs, it is learning a human-centered communication channel and practicing it daily. In a way, meowing at us is a social invention. A cat's tongue is covered in tiny hooks, forming a natural grooming brush. If you have ever been licked by a cat, you know it can feel like sandpaper. That roughness comes from backward-facing spines on the tongue, but act like a built-in comb. As a cat grooms, those hooks catch loose fur and help clean down to the skin, reaching places a smooth tongue could never manage. This is not only about looking tidy. Grooming helps remove debris, spread natural oils, and maintain the coat's condition. It also explains why cats can swallow so much fur, which can sometimes lead to hairballs. You can watch the tongue work like a precise tool, pulling through the coat in short, grafted strokes. It is one of the most elegant pieces of everyday engineering in an animal we see as simple. The tongue is a brush, a cleaner, and a maintenance device all in one. Even in quiet moments, a cat is often doing careful work, keeping its body ready for whatever comes next. Cats can hear higher pitches than dogs, far beyond the human range. A cat's world is full of sounds you never notice. High-pitched squeaks, faint rustles, and tiny taps can stand out to them like a clear bell. This ability likely connects to hunting small prey where the slightest peep or movement can reveal location. While humans focus on voices and low frequencies, cats are tuned to higher tones that fade into silence for us. That is why a cat might snap to attention when you hear nothing at all. Head lifted, eyes focused, body suddenly still. It is not always mystery. Sometimes it is simply superior hearing doing its job. This also means loud noises can be especially stressful because cats process sound intensely and quickly. In a home, that heightened hearing shapes behavior in subtle ways, from reacting to a distant door closing to noticing the faint whir of a device. To a cat, the house is never truly quiet. It is alive with signals. The domestic cat still shares much of its hunting biology with wild cats. Under the softness of a living room nap is a predator design that has barely been edited by comfort. The body is built for ambush, not endurance. A cat studies movement, lowers the head, and lets the shoulders rise and fall, like a slow tide as it stalks. The final rush is a burst, not a chase, because the plan is precision. Teeth and jaws are shaped for a quick, efficient finish, and the claws can stay hidden until the instant they are needed. Even play carries the same sequence. Watch, creep, pounce, grab, bite. That is not a cute habit. It is practice. Many pet cats will still hunt toys at midnight because their instincts are tuned to twilight hours when small animals are most active. In a quiet home, you are living beside an ancient specialist. Cats walk with a rolling gait, keeping their movements unusually quiet. When a cat crosses a room, it can feel like the sound turns down. Part of that is the way they place their feet with careful control, landing softly and distributing weight smoothly. Their steps often follow a neat pattern where the back foot lands close to the print of the front foot, reducing wobble and keeping the body stable. The spine and shoulders join the movement, creating that fluid, rolling glide that looks almost effortless. This is stealth. You can see even when you cannot hear it. It is also why cats can move confidently along narrow surfaces from a fence top to the back of a sofa with hardly a clatter. You might notice the difference most at night when a cat can pass through the house without waking anyone. That quiet travel is not politeness. It is the heritage of an animal that survived by approaching without being detected. A cat's collarbone floats freely, helping it squeeze through narrow gaps. A cat's front end is built like a flexible machine for slipping, climbing, and turning on a dime. Unlike many animals, a collarbone is not locked into a rigid bony frame. Instead, the shoulders can move with extra freedom, letting the front legs step around obstacles and helping the body compress through surprisingly small openings. That is why a cat can look at a space that seems impossible, hesitate for a heartbeat, and then flow through anyway. Their shoulder blades also slide smoothly along the rib cage, adding to that liquid quality of movement. It is not that cats are made of rubber. It is that their skeleton allows for a kind of controlled folding. This matters in the wild for dens, burrows, and tight escapes. In a home, it becomes the reason the cat can vanish behind furniture, appear through a half-open door, or slip from a carrier you thought was secure. Slow blinking is a cat's calm signal, often described as a cat kiss. When a cat looks at you and lets the eyes close slowly, it can feel like the moment stretches. This is not drowsiness alone. In cats' social life, an unbroken stare can signal tension, while relaxed eyelids signal safety. A slow blink is a way of saying, I am not a threat, and I do not think you are either. Many people discover that if they return the gesture, closing their eyes gently and reopening them in a soft rhythm, a cat may blink back or even come closer. It becomes a quiet conversation without words. You can see this calm language between Cats too in peaceful homes where they share space without conflict. The beauty of it is how simple it is. No training, no commands, just trust expressed through timing. In a world where attention is often loud, the slow blink is a gentle, deliberate kind of kindness. The scent glands on a cat's cheeks gently mark you as familiar territory. A cat pressing its face against your leg or bumping the side of your hand is doing more than asking for affection. Along the cheeks and around the mouth are glands that release a friendly signature scent. When a cat rubs on you, it is placing that signature on your skin and clothing, like quietly saying, "You belong to my safe circle." You may notice this happens most when you return home when the cat is re-establishing the household as steady and known. Cats do the same too. Furniture corners and door frames, creating a map of comfort throughout a space. In multi-cat homes, this can become a peaceful way to blend scents, reducing tension by making the environment feel shared rather than contested. To humans, it feels like a sweet greeting. To the cat, it is also a practical act of reassurance, a way to make the world smell predictable and calm. Cats rotate their ears independently, pinpointing the faintest sounds. A cat can be half asleep and still listening in a way that seems almost unfair. Each ear is controlled by a network of small muscles that lets it swivel and tilt, sometimes moving one ear toward you while the other tracks something across the room. Batting dependence helps cats locate a sound's direction quickly, even if it is tiny, brief, or hidden behind furniture. You can watch the ears flick like little radar dishes, constantly sampling the environment. This matters for hunting, where the difference between catching prey and missing it can be a single rustle in grass. It also matters for safety because cats notice changes before their eyes fully engage. In a home, that ability can look mysterious. A cat may freeze, ears turning, focused on a noise you cannot hear at all. But for them, the soundscape is layered and detailed. Even in stillness, those ears are gathering clues. A cat's nose print is unique, much like a human fingerprint. Up close, a cat's nose has its own pattern of tiny ridges, bumps, and textures shaped by biology and as individual as a signature. It is part of a nose designed to stay slightly moist, which helps capture scent particles from the air. When a cat leans in to sniff, it is not a casual glance. It is a careful read of the world, pulling information about food, other animals, and recent changes in a space. Cats often pause at doorways or new objects because the nose is confirming what is safe and what is unfamiliar. You might see a cat take short, repeated sniffs, building a clearer picture with each breath. That is one reason cabs can recognize people and places without seeing them. Even if the lights are low, even if a room looks the same, the smell tells a deeper story. For a cat, the nose is a guide, a memory tool, and a warming system. Cats barely taste sweetness due to a small genetic change. If you offered a cat a sugary treat, it would not experience the same delight that many humans do. The reason is simple and surprising. Cats have a change in a key taste receptor gene, which means the usual sweet signal does not register properly. This fits their identity as true meat specialists. In nature, cats did not need to seek fruit or nectar for calories. Their survival depended on animal prey rich in protein and fat. So, their senses leaned into what mattered most, like the smell and taste cues that help identify meat. This is one reason many cats show little interest in cakes or candy, yet become intensely curious about a piece of fish or the scent of a roasted chicken. It is also a reminder that cats do not experience the kitchen the way we do. They are not tiny humans in fur. Their biology is tuned to a different menu, one shaped by hunting and flesh, not sugar. The strange flaming face helps cats draw scents into a special organ. Sometimes a cat will sniff something, then pause with the mouth slightly open and the lips curled in a look that seems almost comical. That expression is a serious sensory move. It helps guide chemical cues toward a scent-detecting system that specializes in reading social information, especially signals left by other animals. You might see it after a cat inspects a new bag, a visitor's clothing, or a spot another cat has marked. The face is not disgust. It is analysis. The cat is pulling a hidden layer of meaning from the air. The kind of meaning that can hint at identity, mood, or recent activity. In the wild, this can help cats understand who has passed through an area and whether they should stay alert. In a home, it is one of those moments that reveals how much is happening behind the calm exterior. Even a single sniff can open a whole invisible story. A cat's tail works as a balance tool and an emotional signal. The tail is a cat's visible mood meter, and it is also part of how the body stays coordinated during quick movements. A relaxed, upright tail off during friendly greetings, while a puffed tail can make a frightened cat look larger and more intimidating. Slow swishes can signal focus or irritation, and a fast whipping tail can be a clear warning that patience is running out. Cats even wrap their tails around their bodies for warmth and comfort, like a built-in blanket. In social moments, tail posture helps other cats read intention from a distance long before anyone gets close. For humans, learning this language can change everything. You start to notice when a cat is curious, when it is unsure, and when it would rather be left alone. The tail is honest in a way the face is not. It is a moving flag that tells you how the cat is feeling right now in real time. Cats groom to stay clean, cool down, and calm their nervous system. A grooming session can look like simple titio, but it is also a whole body reset. The tongue pulls through fur in steady strokes, lifting dirt and loose hair, while spreading skin oils that keep the coat weather-ready. Then there's the cooling trick. As saliva spreads and evaporates, it can help a cat shed heat, especially when the air is warm and still. But the most surprising part is how much grooming can soothe. Many cats lick in a slow, rhythmic pattern after excitement, conflict, or a sudden noise as if they are turning their own volume down. You will often see it after a tense moment with another pet or after a burst of play ends abruptly. It is like watching a creature smooth itself back into calm. When grooming becomes excessive, it can also signal stress, which is why the behavior is both a comfort and a clue. Some cats chirp at birds, a behavior linked to hunting excitement. You are by the window with a cat, and outside a bird hops along a branch. The cat's body tightens with focus. The tail tip may twitch, and then comes that strange sound, a quick chirp or chattering rattle. It is one of the most intriguing little noises cats make, because it seems to spill out right at the edge of action. Many people think of it as frustration, like the cat cannot reach the target. Others hear it as excitement, the mind running through a hunt that cannot happen. Some researchers and cat behaviorists suggest it could be tied to the rapid jaw movements used in a precise bite, almost like the body rehearsing. Whatever the exact reason, it is a moment when you can see the predator behind the pet. A silent room suddenly fills with a wild intention, compressed into a tiny sound that feels half-secret. Kittens learn social skills early, and timing shapes lifelong confidence. A kitten is not born knowing how to live with others. Early weeks are like a fast-moving school where every touch and reaction teaches something. Gentle handling can help kittens become comfortable with human hands, voices, and daily household sounds. Play with litmates teaches bite control and boundaries because a bite that hurts gets immediate feedback. The kitten learns quickly what is too much. When those early lessons are missing or interrupted, some cats grow into adults who startle easily or struggle with new experiences. That does not mean they cannot adapt, but it can change how long trust takes to build. This is why early experiences matter so much, even ones that seem small. A calm introduction to a carrier, a soft brush, a friendly visitor, or a new room can become part of a cat's inner map of safety. Confidence is often built before a kitten is even fully grown. Many cats knead with their paws, echoing nursing behavior from infancy. Kneading looks like a gentle massage, paws pressing and releasing in a slow rhythm, often on blankets, laps, or soft cushions. The roots of it reach back to kittenhood when nursing kittens press against their mother to stimulate milk fur. That early motion becomes linked with warmth, food, and safety, so it can resurface later in life during moments of deep comfort. Some cats knead with eyes half closed, purring softly, as if drifting into a memory their body still remembers. The claws may come out a little, not from aggression, but because the movement is automatic and instinctive. In the wild, Kneading can also relate to preparing a resting spot, patting down grass or leaves before settling. At home, the behavior becomes a tender ritual that shows a cat feels secure enough to relax fully. It is one of those actions that feels intimate because it comes from a time when the world was small and safe. Cats sprint, using fast twitch muscles built for sudden bursts of speed. A cat's athletic. Magic is not built for marathons. It is built for lightning. Fast twitch. Muscle fibers are designed to explode into motion, giving a cat that instant acceleration when it launches after a toy, darts under a chair, or leaps to a shelf. In a hunt, this makes sense. The cat waits, DS itself, and then commits to a short, decisive burst where timing matters more than distance. You can see the same design in how cats play. They often pause for long stretches, watching and calculating, then suddenly move with dramatic speed. It is not laziness. It is energy strategy. Those powerful bursts cost a lot, which is why cats prefer brief, intense action followed by recovery. This also explains why play sessions that copy a hunt with stalking and pouncing can satisfy a cat more than constant running. Their bodies are tuned for a quick story, not a long chase. A cat's pupils narrow into slits, protecting highly sensitive eyes. In bright light, a cat's pupils can tighten into thin vertical lines, and it looks almost dramatic, like a camera closing down. That shape is not just for style. It helps control how much light enters the eye, protecting a system built to be extremely sensitive. The slit can reduce glare while still allowing sharp focus, which matters for an animal that needs to judge movement and distance with precision. Then, when light fades, the pupils can open wide, drinking in whatever is available. This fast adjustment helps cats handle sudden changes, like stepping from a sunny window into a dim hallway. It is also part of their expressive face. Wide pupils can signal excitement, fear, or intense interest, while narrowed pupils can appear during bright conditions or heightened focus. If you watch carefully, you can sometimes see the pupils shift as a cat's mood shifts, almost like the eyes are telling you a quiet story without words. Cats have a reflective eye layer, boosting vision in low light. When light hits a cat's eyes at night, you might see an eerie glow, green, gold, or icy blue. That shine comes from a reflective layer behind the retina that bounces light back through the eye, giving the photoreceptors a second chance to catch it. It is like recycling faint light instead of letting it disappear. The result is a strong advantage in dim conditions when prey might be moving and the world is full of shadows. This reflective layer also explains why the eyes can look so luminous in headlights or a hallway nightlight. The trade-off is that the reflection can slightly soften fine detail, especially in brighter conditions, but cats are built to prioritize motion and low-light function. It is one of those designs that feels almost otherworldly until you realize it is practical. In twilight, when humans begin to fumble and squint, cats are still reading the room with confidence. Sudden zoomies often release stored energy, excitement, or mild stress. One moment, the house is calm. The next, your cat is sprinting down the hallway, ripping off corners, and skidding across the floor like a tiny comet. Those sudden bursts, often called zoomies, are common in many cats, especially younger ones. They can happen after a long nap, after using the litter box, or during the evening hours when a cat's natural activity tends to rise. Sometimes it is pure play energy looking for an exit. Sometimes it is a way to shake off tension, like the body turning nervous, buzz into motion. He will often see the cat pause mid-run, eyes bright, then take off again with the same wild joy. It can look chaotic, but it is often self-regulation in action. The key is what comes after. Many cats settle more easily once the burst is done, as if the sprint cleared the system. In a safe home, zoomies are usually the sound of a healthy engine revving. Cats prefer routine because sudden change can trigger vigilance. Cats are masters of noticing small differences, which makes the world feel safer when it stays predictable. The same feeding time, the same sleeping spots, the same familiar pathways through a room all reduce the need to stay on alert. When something changes, a moved couch, a new scent, a different person in the house, a loud suitcase appearing, the cat may switch into a cautious mode. You might see more hiding, more watching from the distance, or more checking corners. This is not stubbornness. It is a survival strategy. In nature, change can mean danger, and cautious animals live longer. The good news is that gentle consistency can rebuild calm, returning to familiar rhythms, offering predictable play, and giving a cat control over distance and approach can help them adjust. Once a new routine forms, many cats settle again, as if the world has become readable. Routine is not boredom to a cat. It is safety written into time. A cat's sense of smell guides food choices more than taste. To a cat, a meal begins before the first bite. It begins with a sniff. Cats have a strong preference for foods that smell right because scent carries the richest information about freshness, safety, and what the food actually is. This is why a cat with a stuffy nose may suddenly seem picky. The flavor has not changed, but the smell pathway has. It is also why warmed food can become more tempting because warmth releases more aroma into the air. You may notice a cat sniffing, then stepping back, then returning for another careful check, as if confirming the answer. Cats also remember smell strongly. A familiar scent can mean comfort, while a new scent can mean caution, even if the food looks identical to you. This smell-first approach helps explain why cats can be selective in ways that confuse humans. They're not judging by sweetness or variety. They are following the nose, and the nose is telling them a story. Cats detect faint vibrations through sensitive receptors in their paw pads. A cat can learn about a room without seeing it clearly simply by standing still. Under the soft pads are touch sensors that pick up tiny tremors, the kind made by footsteps in another room, a door settling into its frame, or a small animal moving under floorboards. That is why some cats seem to appear before you hear anyone arrive, or why they suddenly stare at a spot that looks completely empty. Their feet are not just for walking. They are part of a quiet early warning system. This sensitivity also helps during hunting when the goal is to feel movement as much as to hear it. Even Play shows it. A toy that skitters can be tracked through the floor with astonishing accuracy. When a cat presses a paw on something, it is not always to hold it down. Sometimes it is to listen with the skin. The Jacobson's organ lets cats analyze scent, almost like tasting air. A cat's nose does more than smell dinner. It can read social information that feels almost like a secret layer of reality. Inside the roof of the mouth is a special scent system that helps interpret chemical cues other animals leave behind. This is the kind of information that can tell a cat whether another creature was recently nearby and whether that visitor felt calm, stressed, or ready to challenge. It is why a cat can become intensely focused on a single patch of carpet or sniff a doorway as if it holds news. To us, it is nothing. To the cat, it is a message board. This ability helps explain those moments when a cat seems to know what happened while you were away, or why a new object can feel suspicious, even if it looks harmless. Their world is not only what they see, it is what the air remembers. Cats drink little water, reflecting ancestors from dry environments. Many cats carry a desert-shaped history in their bodies. Their wild relatives often survived where open water was scarce, so moisture came mostly from prey. That ancient pattern still shows up in living rooms today, where some cats barely visit the water bowl, even when they are healthy. Instead, they may prefer moisture hidden inside food or sip only in small, careful moments. This can surprise people who expect a steady dew-like approach to drinking. It is also why many cats become fascinated by dripping taps or freshly poured water. Movement can signal freshness, and freshness matters when water is rare. You might notice a cat waiting until the house is quiet, then taking a few silent laps as if it is private business. Understanding this background can change how you care for them. A cat is not being difficult when it drinks little. It is following an old survival script written long before kitchens existed. A cat's kidneys concentrate urine extremely well, compared with humans. Inside a cat is a powerful water-saving system. The kidneys are built to reclaim moisture efficiently, producing urine that can be far more concentrated than ours. This is another echo of life where water was not always guaranteed. It means a cat can stay hydrated on less drinking than you might expect, especially when eating moist food. It also means that hydration changes can matter quickly because the body is already optimized to conserve. When a cat is well hydrated, that system works smoothly in the background, quietly balancing salts and fluids. When water intake drops too far, the margin can shrink. That is one reason vets often emphasize hydration strategies for cats, especially as they age. The fascinating part is that this is not a modern trick. It is ancient engineering tuned for survival in harsh landscapes. Every lap a cat takes is supported by an internal machine that knows how to stretch water like a precious resource. Cats sleep long hours, but much of it is light dozing. A sleeping cat can look completely gone from the world, yet the body is often on standby. Much of their rest is a light asleep where they can wake quickly if something changes. You can see it in the small signs. An ear that swivels, whiskers that shift, eyes that crack open for a second and close again. This pattern makes sense for a hunter that must also avoid danger. Rest is essential, but deep unconsciousness for long stretches could be risky. So, cats mastered the art of half sleep. They can recharge while still monitoring the environment. That is why a cat may seem to teleport from a sofa to the hallway the moment you touch a cupboard. They were not fully asleep, in the human sense. They were resting with one paw in awareness. It is also why cats choose sleeping spots strategically, often with a good view or a quick escape route. Even in rest, they are quietly clever. Dream sleep in cats includes twitching paws, whiskers, and tails. Sometimes a cat falls into a deeper kind of sleep and the stillness changes. A paw flexes as if stepping. Whiskers tremble. The jaw makes tiny movements, and the tail may flick as if responding to an invisible moment. This is the kind of sleep linked with dreaming where the brain is active even while the body stays mostly at rest. Watching it can feel like witnessing a private story. Maybe it is a chase. Maybe it is a climb. Maybe it is the memory of a game from earlier that day. Kittens often show these movements strongly, which fits with how much their brains are learning and organizing. Adults do it, too, just sometimes more subtly. It is a reminder that cats are not only reacting creatures. They are processors, replaying experience, refining skills, and sorting the world while they lie curled in a quiet comma of fur. Even sleep can be a kind of practice. Cats can learn words and toms even when they pretend not to. A cat may act indifferent, but that does not mean nothing is being learned. Over time, many cats connect particular sounds with particular outcomes. A food tin opening, a favorite person arriving, a carrier appearing, or a game beginning. They may not respond like a dog because cats are not built for constant obedience. Their responses are often strategic. If coming when called has worked out well before, you may get a quick trot. If it has led to nail trimming, you may get silence and disappearance. Tone matters, too. A gentle voice can signal safety, while a sharp sound can trigger distance. This learning can become surprisingly specific. Some cats recognize the names of people in the household or react differently to phrases that predict routine. The fun part is seeing the choice behind it. A cat can understand you and still decide. That decision is not defiance. It is agency, and it is part of what makes cats feel so alive. Cats use body angles more than faces, signaling comfort or warning. Humans search faces for emotion, but cats speak more with posture. A slight turn of the body can say, "I am relaxed," or it can say, "I am ready to leave." A cat that feels safe often sits with loose muscles offering its side rather than facing you head on. A cat that feels unsure may stiffen, lower the body, and keep weight ready to shift. The direction of the head, the curve of the back, and the placement of the paws all become part of a quiet sentence. This is why cat communication can be missed. The signals are not loud. They are geometric. If you learn to notice them, you start to understand moments before they happen. You can see when a cat is about to play, when it wants space, or when it is simply watching the world with calm attention. It is like learning a new language that was there the whole time, written in angles and pauses rather than words. A raised, quivering tail can signal joy, greeting, or excitement. There is a particular kind of greeting that feels unmistakably cat. The tail lifts straight up and then it trembles, as if the whole body is smiling. This quiver often appears when a cat is delighted to see someone, especially a trusted person returning after time away. He can also show up at mealtime, or when a favorite routine is about to begin like play or a warm lap. The quiver is different from a thrash. It is not irritation. It is a bright, contained excitement like energy bubbling up without spilling over. Some cats pair it with a friendly approach, a soft sound, or a quick rub against a leg. In multi-cat homes, it can appear between bonded cats as well. It is one of those signals that feels almost pure because it carries no obvious demand. It is simply, I am happy, you are here, and I cannot quite keep it still. Cats gently headbutt to exchange scent, strengthening social bonds. A cat's headbutt is not a push. It is a ceremony. The forehead and the area around the head carry scent sources that can be shared through gentle contact. When a cat bumps you, it is often placing a familiar signature on you, while also picking up yours, weaving you into its social world. This behavior is sometimes called bunting, and it can appear between cats that trust each other deeply. You might see it in greeting rituals where one cat approaches and offers the forehead like a handshake. With humans, it often arrives as a quiet surprise, a small, solid tap that says more than a meow. It can also be a sign of confidence because the cat is moving close and choosing contact without fear. Pay attention to the style. A slow, deliberate headbutt usually signals affection and calm. In that small movement, the cat is not only saying hello, it is reaffirming belonging, the way a family might touch shoulders as they pass. Black fur can be linked to genes that also influence immunity. A black-coated cat can carry more than a striking look. In several species, including domestic cats and their wild relatives, the genetics tied to dark pigmentation can overlap with pathways involved in immune function. That does not mean every black cat is healthier, but it does mean evolution sometimes bundles traits together in surprising ways. Imagine a population living with heavy disease pressure. A gene variant that deepens coat color might hitch a ride, with changes that help resist certain infections. And over time, that darker look becomes more common. This idea is studied in different cat populations, and it reminds us that color is not only cosmetic. Fur can be a visible clue to invisible biology. The next time you see a sleek black cat moving through a doorway like a shadow, it is worth remembering that evolution often uses the surface to carry deeper stories. And sometimes the story is about survival. White cats with blue eyes face a higher chance of deafness. Some of the most visually dramatic cats, white coats paired with blue eyes, carry a hidden risk that surprises many people. In many cases, the genetics that create that brilliant white coloring can also affect the development of the inner ear. The result can be partial or complete deafness, sometimes in one ear, sometimes both. This is not connected to intelligence or personality, but it can shape how a cat experiences the world. Deaf cats often become experts at reading vibrations, routines, and visual cues from humans. They may startle more easily when touched unexpectedly simply because they cannot hear approach. Many owners learn to communicate with light taps, hand signals, or gentle stomps on the floor to announce presence. It is a beautiful example of adaptation. A cat can lose one sense and still thrive, building a rich life from the senses that remain and often forming very attentive bonds with the people who learn its language. Calico and tortoise shell coats usually appear in females due to genetics. A calico or tortoise shell coat looks like living artwork, patches of color arranged as if painted by chance. The reason is partly chance and partly chromosomes. The genes for orange and black coat color sit on the X chromosome, and females typically have two X chromosomes. Early in development, each cell chooses one X chromosome to use, and the other is mostly silenced. That choice happens in different cells across the body, creating a mosaic. One region grows orange, another grows black, and the pattern becomes a map of early embryonic decisions. Male cats usually have only one X chromosome, so they typically cannot form the same patchwork, though rare genetic combinations can. When you look at a calico, you are seeing genetics made visible, a biography written in fur. It is one of the clearest examples of how a Simple rule inside cells can produce something endlessly unique on the outside. Some cats have extra toes called polyactyli, common in port towns. A polyactyl cat can look as if it is wearing mittens. Extra toes can create wide, sturdy paws that many people find charming, and the trait has a famous history tied to ships and coastal communities. Sailors often welcomed cats aboard to control rodents, and polyactyl cats were sometimes favored because their broad paws seemed to offer better balance on moving decks. Over time, as ships moved between ports, cats traveled, too, and the genes spread through coastal populations. In some harbor towns, the trait became unusually common, turning a random mutation into a recognizable local character. The extra toes can also give some cats surprising dexterity, like a stronger grip on toys or an easier time climbing. Not every polyactyl cat has the same paw shape, and responsible care includes checking claws that may grow in unusual angles. Still, it is a delightful reminder that history travels on 4 feet, and sometimes it leaves footprints with one extra toe. Hairless cat breeds still sweat, needing warmth and careful skincare. A hairless cat feels like warm suede against your hand, but that softness comes with different needs than a furry coat. Without a layer of fur to absorb oils and protect the skin, natural secretions can build up, so gentle bathing or wiping becomes part of healthy care. These cats can also lose heat quickly. A sunny window can be bliss, while a chilly room can be genuinely uncomfortable, so warmth matters more than most people expect. Some wear soft sweaters, not as costumes, but as practical insulation. Hairlessness does not mean hypoallergenic either, because many allergies relate to skin proteins rather than fur itself. Living with a hairless cat often feels like living with a tiny, affectionate radiator that needs a little more thoughtful maintenance. It shifts your attention to the body itself, the skin, the temperature, the comfort of touch. And in return, many of these cats become famously people-oriented, seeking laps and blankets as if they were made for companionship. The Siamese coat pattern comes from temperature-sensitive pigment. Siamese coloring looks almost like the cat was dipped in ink at the ears, face, paws, and tail while the body stays lighter. That pattern comes from a pigment-producing system that behaves differently depending on temperature. In warmer parts of the body, pigment production is reduced, and in cooler extremities, it increases. The result is a natural gradient shaped by the cat's own heat map. Kittens are often born much lighter because the womb is warm and evenly heated. As they grow, and their extremities cool relative to the torso, the darker points develop. Even the environment can influence tone, with cooler conditions sometimes deepening the contrast over time. It is a fascinating case where color is not fixed like paint. It is responsive, a living display of how chemistry and temperature interact. When you see those dark points, you are seeing physics made visible, a pattern created by warmth and the way a body holds it. Folded ears arise from cartilage genes that can affect joint health. Folded ears can make a cat look permanently curious, but that signature shape is linked to a cartilage-altering gene. Cartilage is not only in ears, it also supports joints throughout the body. In some cats with folded ears, the same genetic change can increase the risk of painful joint and bone problems as they age. This is why ethical breeding discussions around folded ear cats are so important and why veterinary awareness matters for owners. Some cats may develop stiffness, reluctance to jump, or discomfort that is easy to miss if you assume the cat is simply calm. The most caring approach is to watch movement over time and support comfort early with vet guidance. The deeper lesson is that appearance can come with invisible trade-offs. A cute trait is not always a harmless trait. When we shape animals through breeding, we also shape their bodies for life, not just for photos. Looking closely at welfare turns fascination into responsibility. A cat's coat can change with seasons, light, and hormones. A cat's coat is not a static outfit. It is a living system that responds to the world. Many cats grow thicker fur as days shorten, then shed heavily when the seasons shift toward warmth. Indoor life can blur the pattern, but light still matters because daylight length influences hormonal signals that guide hair growth. Health changes can play a role, too. Hormonal shifts, stress, or medical conditions can affect sheen, density, and shedding, making the coat a visible window into the body's balance. Even, color can appear to shift subtly as new hairs grow in, especially in cats with patterns that show contrast between undercoat and guard hairs. For an owner, brushing can feel like simple grooming, but it is also partnership with biology, helping remove loose hair and keeping skin comfortable during transitions. Watching a coat change over the year can be surprisingly grounding, like seeing the seasons written softly into fur, one shed hair at a time. Fever coat appears when a pregnant cat experiences stress. Sometimes a kitten is born with fur that looks oddly pale or smoky, as if someone dusted it with silver. This can happen when a pregnant cat experiences significant stress, illness, or fever during pregnancy, affecting how pigment is deposited in the developing fur. The result is not permanent. As the kitten grows and sheds that first coat, the true underlying color often emerges. It can be startling for new owners who think they have adopted one color and then watch it transform over months. This is not a magic trick. It is a record of early development, a snapshot of conditions in the womb translated into pigment. It also highlights how sensitive developing bodies are to the mother's well-being. Supportive care for pregnant cats, calm environments, good nutrition, and veterinary help when needed are not only kind. They showed the next generation in quiet, visible ways. A fever coat is a reminder that fur can sometimes carry a story from before birth. Cats can favor one paw, similar to human-handedness. If you watch closely during play, you may notice a pattern. One paw reaches first for the toy. One paw bats with more confidence. One paw hooks the edge of a blanket, as if it is the preferred tool. Many cats show a consistent paw preference, a kind of feline-handedness. This preference can appear in everyday actions like stepping into a carrier, testing a new object, or pulling something closer. It hints at how the brain is organized, because favoring one side suggests subtle differences in how each hemisphere guides movement. Some studies suggest patterns can vary by sex or personality, though the overall message is simple. Cats are not symmetrical robots. They develop individual motor habits the way humans do. Not every cat has a strong preference, but those that do can be surprisingly consistent across time. It is a small detail that makes a cat feel even more like a person in its own right, with a favorite side and a personal style of solving problems. The smallest wild cat species can weigh less than a house cat. Some wild cats are so small that they can look almost unreal, like a big kitten living a secret life. In forests and grasslands, there are species that stay compact, light, and quick, built to hunt tiny prey while avoiding larger predators. Their size is an advantage, not a weakness. A small wild cat can slip into dense cover, climb with ease, and survive on meals that would not sustain a bigger hunter. But small does not mean gentle. These cats still carry the same sharp instincts, the same silent patience, and the same sudden precision you see in a pet cat stalking a toy. The difference is that in the wild, every decision is high stakes. A rustle could be dinner or danger. When you picture a wild cat, you might imagine something lion-sized. Yet, some of the wildest lives on Earth belong to cats that weigh less than the one asleep on your sofa. Even the biggest cats share behaviors seen in tiny kittens. Scale can be deceiving. A tiger can outweigh a human many times over. Yet, it will still play, practice, and learn in ways that look startlingly familiar. Young big cats wrestle with siblings, pounce on moving targets, and chase in short bursts, building coordination long before hunting becomes real. That playful rehearsal does not vanish in adulthood, either. Even grown big cats may swat, roll, and test objects with the same curious caution you see in a house cat meeting a new box. The deep pattern is the same. Cats are wired to refine timing, balance, and confidence through play. It is not just entertainment. It is training disguised as joy. When you watch a kitten spring sideways in surprise, you are seeing a tiny version of the same nervous system that powers lions and leopards. It is one family design expressed at different sizes, like the same song played on different instruments. Domestic cats can hybridize with wild cats, complicating conservation efforts. In some regions, wildcat populations live close enough to villages and farms that they meet domestic cats, and sometimes they breed. The kittens can look wild, act shy, and still carry domestic genes quietly into the wild. Gene pool. Over time, this blending can make it harder to protect the true wild population because the unique traits that evolved for that landscape can become diluted. It also makes identification difficult. A cat might look like a wild cat at a distance, but genetics may tell a more tangled story. Conservation teams often face a delicate puzzle. How do you preserve a wild species while domestic animals share the same edges of habitat? It is not a problem of villains or bad cats. It is a side effect of human expansion, roads, and shared territory. The surprising part is that your neighborhood cat, harmless at home, can be part of a much larger ecological conversation happening at the border of wilderness. Island cats can reshape ecosystems by hunting birds and reptiles. On an island, life often evolves without certain predators, and that can make local species unusually vulnerable. When cats arrive, even a few, the balance can shift fast. Ground nesting birds, small lizards, and native mammals may not have defenses against a silent stalker that hunts with patience and precision. The result can be dramatic with declines that ripple through the whole ecosystem. Fewer birds can mean more insects. Fewer native predators can mean unexpected population booms elsewhere. This is one of the most sobering examples of how an animal that feels ordinary at home can become powerful in a new environment. It is not about cats being evil. It is about islands being delicate. Conservation projects sometimes focus on keeping cats indoors, supporting managed colonies responsibly, and protecting critical nesting habitats. The awe here is uncomfortable but real. A single species introduced to the wrong place can rewrite a whole living story simply by doing what it was built to do. Cats traveled on ships to protect food stores from rats. A ship is a floating pantry, and for centuries, it was also a floating invitation to rats. Where grain, dried meat, and supplies went, rodents followed, chewing through stores and spreading illness. Cats became valued crew members because they were quiet, self-driven hunters who could patrol the lower decks without being asked. Imagine the dim hold of a wooden ship, the creak of ropes above, and somewhere in the dark, a cat listening for the smallest scrape. Sailors often spoke of ship cats with affection and superstition, believing a good hunter brought luck in the calmer voyage. As ships crossed oceans, cats crossed with them, stepping onto docks in unfamiliar ports and changing local cat populations over time. A house cat today carries echoes of that wandering, not just as a companion, but as a worker, with a job that mattered. In the long history of trade, some of the most important protection came on four paws. One famous cat survived multiple shipwrecks, becoming a sailor legend. There is a wartime story that keeps resurfacing because it sounds impossible. A ship goes down, the sea is chaos, and somehow a cat is found alive among debris and survivors. Then it happens again on another vessel, and again until the animal becomes a symbol of strange resilience. The best-known version is often told as the tale of Unsinkable Sam, a ship's cat said to have survived several sinkings during the Second World War. Details vary depending on who tells it, and that uncertainty is part of what makes it feel like a legend. But the enduring point is clear. Ship cats were real. They lived alongside crews, and they sometimes survived events no one expected. A cat can cling, float, and endure in ways that surprise us. And sailors have always noticed that toughness. Even if you treat the story gently, as history mixed with myth, it reveals something true about our relationship with cats. We remember them, and we make meaning from their survival. Medieval Europe feared cats at times, then desperately needed them again. In parts of medieval Europe, cats became tangled in fear, superstition, and suspicion. Some communities linked them with bad luck or witchcraft, especially black cats, and that association could lead to harm or rejection. Yet, the practical reality never went away. Cities and farms stored food and rodents arrived like clockwork. When rat populations surged, the cost was not only missing grain. It could mean disease and hardship spreading through crowded streets. Over time, the value of a skilled mouser became impossible to ignore. Cats returned to favor, not through speeches, but through necessity. It is a striking example of how culture and biology collide. People can build stories around an animal, but the animal still has a role in the ecosystem, and the ecosystem has consequences. Today, we like to imagine history as tidy progress. Cat history is messier. It shows how quickly an animal can be idolized, blamed, and then welcomed back simply because life demanded it. Japan's beckoning cat symbolizes good fortune, hospitality, and trade. In shopfronts and restaurants across Japan, you may see a small cat figure with one paw raised as if waving you in. This is the Mani Niko, the beckoning cat, and it carries a blend of charm and cultural meaning. The raised paw is an invitation, a symbol of welcome and good fortune, often placed where business and visitors meet. Different colors and details can carry different hopes, from prosperity to protection, depending on tradition and region. Part of the symbol's power is how it connects cats with everyday life, not as distant animals, but as companions that share our spaces and rhythms. There are origin stories, too, including tales of temples, travelers, and a cat whose gesture changed someone's path. Whether you take the stories literally or not, the symbol endures because it feels right. Cats move quietly through human worlds, and yet their presence can feel like luck. A simple raised paw becomes a promise of warmth, welcome, and return. Cats appear in ancient art across Asia, Africa, and Europe. Long before the internet made cats famous, humans were already drawing them, carving them, and placing them into stories. Ancient art shows cats in scenes of home, life, hunting, and symbolism, sometimes as protectors, sometimes as playful companions, sometimes as sacred figures. You can find cats painted in Egyptian tombs, hinted at in Roman mosaics, and woven into art across parts of Asia, where they appear alongside everyday objects and seasonal scenes. What is fascinating is how recognizable the cat remains. The posture, the alert ears, the curved tail, the poised stillness. Artists noticed the same traits we notice now, that mix of elegance and unpredictability. These images are time capsules of relationship. They show that people did not only tolerate cats, they watched them closely, remembered them, and gave them a place in human imagination. When you see an ancient cat image, it is a quiet reminder that the cat spell is not new. It has been working for a very long time. The first cat shows helped launch modern pedigree breeding. In the 19th century, people began celebrating cats in a new public way, not just as household helpers, but as animals with named types, recorded traits, and judged appearance. One of the earliest famous cat shows took place in London at the Crystal Palace in the year 1871, organized with the idea that cats could be admired like dogs and birds already were. Visitors came to see different coats, colors, and shapes displayed side by side, and the event helped create standards that would later define breeds. This changed how many people viewed cats. A cat could be a companion and also a curated lineage. It also created new debates about health, ethics, and what humans should prioritize when shaping animals through selective breeding. The show itself was not just entertainment. It was a turning point. It pushed cats into the public spotlight as objects of fascination and pride, and it helped set the stage for the modern world of cat fancy culture. A cat's meow changes with human feedback, becoming a learned tool. A meow is not a fixed sound. It is something many cats actively shape over time. When a cat lives with people, it begins to notice which sounds produce results. A short, soft meow might bring attention. A longer rising sound might bring food. If one version works better, it gets reused. Slowly, the cat builds a personal vocabulary designed for humans. What makes this fascinating is how specific it can become. The same cat may sound different with different people, adjusting volume and tone based on who responds. This is not instinct alone. It is learning through outcome. In the wild, adult cats rarely meow at each other, relying more on posture and scent. With humans, meowing becomes a bridge between species. When your cat vocalizes, it is not just making noise. It is using a sound shaped by experience, memory, and your past reactions refined through daily life. Cats recognize their owner's voice, even when ignoring it. Recognition does not always look like obedience. Many cats clearly distinguish their person's voice from others, even when they choose not to respond. You can sometimes see it in subtle signs: a flick of the ear, a pause in movement, or a brief lift of the head before settling again. The sound itself carries familiarity, rhythm, and emotional tone. Cats often learn which voices predict comfort, food, play, or disruption. Ignoring a call can be a decision, not confusion. This is why a cat may come running for one person and remain still for another, even if both say the same word. The meaning lives in the sound pattern, not the command. Over time, a cat builds an internal map of voices and outcomes. When you speak, your cat is listening, sorting, and deciding. Silence afterward does not mean the message was missed. It means it was processed. Cats rub objects after eating, spreading a reassuring scent. After a meal, some cats begin a slow circuit of rubbing against furniture, walls, or people. This behavior is deeply tied to comfort and security. Eating is a vulnerable moment in nature, and marking afterward can help transform a space into one that feels safe and familiar. The rubbing releases gentle scent, signals that blend the cat with its surroundings. It is not random affection. It is environmental reassurance. You may notice it happens more often after changes like a new food bowl, a moved table, or a disruption in routine. The cat is restoring emotional balance by rewriting the scent landscape. When your leg becomes part of that circuit, you are included in the safety zone. To the cat, this quiet ritual says, "This place is good. This experience ended well, and the world feels settled." Again, scratching leaves visual marks while depositing scent at the same time. Scratching is communication layered into motion. When a cat drags its claws down the surface, it creates visible marks that signal presence and familiarity. At the same time, scent from the paws is deposited, adding an invisible message. Together, these cues turn ordinary objects into landmarks. Scratching often appears near doorways, resting spots, or travel routes through a home. It can also happen after waking when the body stretches back into alertness. The act is physically satisfying, engaging muscles and joints, but it is also emotionally grounding. A good scratch can reset a cat's sense of place. That is why scratching posts work best when they are positioned where cats naturally want to mark, not hidden away. When cats scratch, they are not being destructive. They are anchoring themselves in their environment, writing familiarity into the space in a language made of texture and scent. Cats hide illness instinctively since weakness attracts predators. In the wild, visible weakness can be dangerous. Predators and rivals notice vulnerability quickly. So many cats evolved to mask discomfort. This instinct carries into domestic life where signs of illness are often subtle. The cat may rest more, move less, or choose quieter locations without making a sound. Appetite changes can be gradual. Grooming may slow or become uneven. These shifts are easy to overlook if you expect dramatic signals. The challenge is that cats often stay outwardly calm even when something feels wrong. That calm is not comfort. It is protection. This is why familiarity matters so much. Knowing your cat's normal routines makes small changes easier to spot early. Attention can make a real difference because once a cat finally shows obvious distress, the issue may already be advanced. Silence in cats can be strength, but it can also be a request spoken very quietly. Whisker positions signal mood, pointing forward with interest or back in stress. Whiskers are not passive. They shift with emotion and attention, offering a clear window into how a cat feels. When curiosity or excitement rises, whiskers often angle forward, extending the cat's sensory reach. This can happen during play, exploration, or focused watching. When a cat feels threatened or overwhelmed, whiskers tend to pull back closer to the face, reducing exposure. These changes can happen quickly and often appear before other signals like movement or sound. Watching whiskers alongside ears and posture can help you understand a moment before it escalates. A cat with forward whiskers may be ready to engage. A cat with flattened whiskers may need space. This subtle language is especially useful in quiet situations where nothing seems wrong until it suddenly is. Once you learn to read whiskers, cats become Easier to understand because their emotions stop hiding in silence and start appearing in plain sight. Autumn can stress cats while enrichment reduces problem behaviors. A cat without stimulation may look calm, but inside energy can build with nowhere to go. In nature, cats spend time watching, planning, stalking, and solving small challenges. When those outlets disappear, stress can appear in unexpected ways. Nighttime restlessness, repeated vocalizing, destructive scratching, or rough play can all be signs of unmet mental needs. Enrichment works by giving the brain something meaningful to do. Short play sessions that mimic hunting patterns can satisfy instinctive sequences. Puzzle feeders slow eating and add purpose to meals. New viewpoints like shelves or window perches can make a space feel larger. The goal is not constant activity. It is balance. When a cat can express curiosity and effort during the day, rest becomes easier afterward. Enrichment does not change who a cat is. It allows the cat to be itself without inventing stress-relieving behaviors that humans find confusing. Cats coexist peacefully by sharing vertical space and travel routes. Cats value control over movement. In shared homes, tension often rises when paths are narrow and escape options are limited. Vertical space changes that dynamic. Shelves, tall furniture, and cat trees create additional layers of territory, allowing cats to pass above or rest without confrontation. Multiple routes through the same area help avoid forced interactions. Peaceful coexistence does not require friendship. It requires choice. When cats can approach or retreat freely, they feel safer. You can see this in how cats pause, root, or wait rather than challenge each other directly. The environment supports their natural diplomacy. This is why thoughtful layout matters more than punishment or forced introductions. A well-designed space allows cats to communicate through distance and timing instead of conflict. When cats have room to negotiate silently, harmony becomes possible without constant supervision. Early experiences shape how cats stalk, chase, and pants. Hunting style is learned as much as it is inherited. Kittens refine their movements through play, especially with littermates who provide immediate feedback. A bite that hurts ends the game. A poorly timed pounce misses the target. These early lessons shape control, confidence, and strategy. Cats raised with varied play opportunities often develop smoother timing and better restraint. Cats with fewer early interactions may rush, hesitate, or struggle with coordination. Environment matters, too. A kitten raised among hiding places may become an ambush specialist, while one raised in open spaces may rely more on speed. These patterns often persist into adulthood, appearing during play with toys. The encouraging part is that experience can still reshape behavior later. Thoughtful play can build confidence and refine skills. Each session becomes a chance to practice focus, timing, and success, reinforcing instincts in a safe, satisfying way. Cats can be trained using rewards, targets, bells, and puzzles. Training a cat works best when it feels like a game, not a command. Many cats quickly learn to touch targets, follow simple cues, or ring bells when rewards are clear and timing is consistent. The process taps into curiosity and problem-solving rather than obedience. Short sessions keep attention high and prevent frustration. Puzzles can also become part of training, teaching patience while satisfying the desire to earn food. What surprises many people is how willing cats can be when they understand the rules. Training can reduce stress around carriers, grooming, or veterinary visits by replacing fear with predictability. It also strengthens communication, giving cats a way to succeed on their own terms. The key is respect. When training ends before interest fades, the cat remembers it as enjoyable. Over time, learning becomes part of daily life, built on trust, clarity, and shared success. A cat's heart beats far faster than a human's. Inside a resting cat, the heart works at a pace that would alarm a doctor if it were human. The faster rhythm supports a body built for sudden action rather than long endurance. When a cat leaps, twists, or accelerates in an instant, oxygen and nutrients must be delivered immediately, and the heart is ready for that demand. You may feel it if a cat is curled on your chest, a quick, steady flutter beneath the ribs. During play or stress, that speed can rise even more, powering short bursts of intense movement. At rest, the heart slows but remains alert, supporting the cat's light, dozing sleep style. This rapid heartbeat is part of a broader design that favors responsiveness. Cats live in a state of readiness even when they appear relaxed. The heart reflects that balance, calm on the surface, prepared underneath, always capable of sudden change. Cats have a protective third eyelid, helping keep eyes healthy. Hidden in the inner corner of a cat's eye is a thin membrane that most people rarely notice. This third eyelid can slide across the eye to protect it from dust, debris, and injury, while still allowing some vision. It also helps spread tears evenly, keeping the eye moist and comfortable. You might catch a glimpse of it when a cat is very relaxed, sleepy, or just waking up. In those moments, it can look pale or translucent, then quickly retreat. In healthy cats, it usually stays tucked away, doing its work quietly. Because it plays a role in eye health, changes in how visible it appears can sometimes signal that something is off. The remarkable thing is how efficiently it operates without drawing attention. Like many feline features, it exists as a backup system, ready when needed, invisible when not, supporting sharp vision in a world full of movement. Cat allergies usually come from skin proteins, not fur. Many people assume fur itself causes allergic reactions, but the real trigger is often a protein produced by cats. This protein is found on the skin and in saliva, then spread onto fur during grooming. As the fur sheds, the protein travels with it, becoming airborne or settling on surfaces. This explains why even hairless cats can still cause reactions and why frequent grooming can sometimes help manage symptoms. It also explains why allergies can vary between individual cats. The amount of protein produced is not the same for every cat, and personal sensitivity differs too. Understanding this shifts the focus away from fur length and toward management strategies like cleaning routines, air filtration, and controlled contact. It also helps explain why allergies can feel unpredictable. The cat is not changing. The protein is, and where it settles in a home can change from day to day, shaping how the body reacts. Some cats naturally produce less of the main allergy protein. Not all cats affect people the same way. Some produce lower amounts of the protein, most commonly linked to allergic reactions. This variation is influenced by genetics, sex, and even hormonal status. It means one cat might trigger symptoms quickly while another barely causes a reaction at all. This difference can surprise people who assume all cats are equal in this regard. It also explains why spending time with one specific cat can feel easier than expected, even for someone who usually reacts. The protein level can also change over time, especially as cats mature or are neutered. While no cat is truly allergy-free, these natural differences can matter in real life. For families trying to balance health and companionship, understanding this variability can open doors. The relationship between cats and humans is not one size fits all. Sometimes it comes down to a quiet, biological detail that makes coexisting possible. Cats can overheat quietly, especially in closed cars or hot rooms. Cats do not always show obvious distress when they are too warm. Unlike dogs, they rarely pant dramatically, and their discomfort can remain subtle until it becomes serious. A hot environment, especially one without airflow, can overwhelm a cat's ability to regulate body temperature. Closed cars are particularly dangerous, even for short periods, because heat builds rapidly. Indoors, small spaces with sun exposure or poor ventilation can also pose risks. Cats may seek cool surfaces, stretch out more than usual, or become unusually still as the body struggles to cope. Because these signs are quiet, they can be missed. This makes prevention especially important. Shade, water, airflow, and attention to room temperature all matter. Cats evolved in warm regions, but that does not make them immune to heat. Their silence is not comfort. It is a sign that they conserve energy when stressed, making awareness the most important protection. Fleas are dangerously toxic to cats, even in small amounts. For cats, fleas are far more than a decorative flower. Even tiny exposures can cause severe poisoning. Pollen brushed onto fur, a sip of water from a vase, or a nibble of a leaf can be enough to trigger kidney failure. What makes this especially dangerous is how innocent the plant looks. Leaves are common in bouquets and homes, and cats are curious by nature. Early signs of exposure can be subtle, including lethargy or reduced appetite, before more serious damage occurs. Immediate veterinary care can be life-saving, but prevention is the safest path. Many cat owners choose to avoid leaves entirely, replacing them with non-toxic plants. This fact stands out because it highlights how human environments can hide unexpected risks. Something beautiful to us can be devastating to a cat. Knowing this transforms a simple decorating choice into an act of protection. Cats lack liver pathways for some drugs, making dosing risky. A cat's liver processes substances differently from a human's. Certain pathways that help break down medications in people are limited or absent in cats. This means drugs that are safe for humans, even common ones, can be dangerous or fatal for cats at very small doses. Pain relievers are a well-known example, but many substances fall into this category. The risk is not about size alone. It is about chemistry. A cat's body may not be able to neutralize or eliminate the drug properly, allowing toxins to build up quickly. This is why veterinary guidance is essential and why sharing human medication is never safe. The difference highlights how specialized cats are biologically. Living alongside us does not mean their bodies work like ours. Their systems evolved for a different diet, different exposures, and different survival pressures. Respecting that difference is a key part of responsible care. Dental disease is common in cats, affecting overall health. A cat's mouth can hide problems that quietly influence the entire body. Dental disease often begins with plaque buildup, then progresses to inflamed gums and painful infection. Because cats are skilled at hiding discomfort, they may continue eating while avoiding one side of the mouth or swallowing differently. Over time, bacteria from the mouth can enter the bloodstream, placing stress on organs like the heart and kidneys. This connection between oral health and whole body health is easy to underestimate. Signs can include bad breath, drooling, or subtle changes in behavior such as irritability or reduced grooming. Regular dental care, whether through brushing, specialized diets, or veterinary cleanings, can make a significant difference. The mouth is not separate from the rest of the body. For cats, it is a gateway. Keeping it healthy supports comfort, longevity, and quality of life in ways that are not always immediately visible. Hypothyroidism can change appetite, weight, and energy levels. As some cats age, a small gland in the neck can begin producing too much thyroid hormone. This hormonal shift speeds up the body's metabolism, often leading to weight loss despite a strong appetite. Cats may seem restless, more vocal, or unusually active, as if their internal engine is running too fast. Some become irritable, while others appear constantly hungry. Because these changes can develop gradually, they are sometimes mistaken for normal aging. But, untreated, the condition can strain the heart and other organs. The good news is that it is manageable with veterinary care. Once identified, what makes this condition notable is how dramatically it can alter a cat's personality and daily rhythm. A calm cat may become edgy. A quiet cat may become demanding. Recognizing the pattern allows intervention that can restore balance and comfort, helping the cat feel more like itself again. The longest-lived cats often share stable routines and careful care. Cats that reach advanced ages often have lives marked by predictability and attentiveness. Stable routines reduce stress, helping the body maintain balance over time. Regular meals, consistent environments, and familiar social rhythms create a sense of safety that supports health. Alongside routine, attentive care matters. Early veterinary visits, dental attention, proper nutrition, and mental stimulation all add up quietly year after year. Long-lived cats are not necessarily extraordinary individuals. They are often the result of steady choices made repeatedly. The absence of chaos can be as powerful as any medical intervention. This does not mean life must be dull. It means it is readable. For a cat, knowing what comes next allows energy to be spent on living, rather than guarding. Longevity is rarely about one secret trick. It is about many small supports layered gently over time, creating a life that is both safe and rich. Cats navigate home using scent maps and environmental memory. A cat's sense of direction is built less on landmarks and more on layered memory. As cats move through an area, they collect scent information from the ground, the air, and objects they pass. These smells form a kind of invisible map reinforced by repeated roots and familiar textures underfoot. Alongside scent, cats remember spatial relationships, how spaces connect, where cover exists, and which paths feel safe. This combination allows many cats to return home from unfamiliar places, sometimes across surprising distances. The journey is not a straight line. It is a process of checking, adjusting, and recognizing patterns that feel right. Even indoors, you can see this system at work when a cat navigates confidently in low light or finds a favored path. Through furniture, the world to a cat is not just seen. It is remembered through smell, motion, and quiet repetition. Cats prefer water, placed away from food, following wild instincts. In the wild, food and water sources are rarely found together. Meat left near water can spoil it, and drinking from contaminated sources carries risk. That ancient logic still influences domestic cats. When water sits beside food, some cats hesitate, not out of stubbornness, but instinct. Moving the bowl even a short distance away can suddenly increase interest in drinking. You might notice a cat choosing a different water source entirely, such as a bathroom sink or a glass left unattended. These choices often reflect a preference for freshness and separation. Flowing water can feel especially appealing because it signals renewal rather than stagnation. Understanding this instinct can change how you set up a feeding area. The cat is not rejecting the bowl. It is following a rule written long before kitchens existed. Separating food and water respects that rule, making hydration feel safer and more natural. Deep bowls bother cats because whiskers become overstimulated. When a cat lowers its head into a deep bowl, the whiskers can brush repeatedly against the sides. Because whiskers are highly sensitive, this constant contact can become uncomfortable, even stressful. Over time, some cats begin avoiding the bowl, eating only from the center or stepping back frequently. This discomfort is sometimes called whisker fatigue, though it is really sensory overload. Shallow dishes or wide plates reduce that pressure, allowing a cat to eat without irritation. You may notice a cat suddenly eating more calmly after a simple bowl change with no adjustment period needed. The behavior can look picky from the outside, but it is a physical response, not a preference. Whiskers are designed to gather information, not endure constant stimulation. Respecting that sensitivity can transform mealtime from a chore into a relaxed ritual simply by letting the face remain free and unbothered. Elevated resting spots offer cats security and environmental control. Height gives cats information and safety. At the same time, from an elevated position, a cat can observe movement without being approached directly. This perspective allows early detection of change, whether it is another animal entering the room or a new sound drifting through the house. Elevated resting spots also reduce the chance of surprise, which is important for animals that value control. That is why cats often choose shelves, the backs of sofas, or the tops of furniture. These locations are not chosen at random. They offer stability and choice. From above, a cat can decide when to engage and when to withdraw. In multi-cat homes, vertical space can ease tension by allowing separate territories within the same room. For indoor cats, especially, elevation expands the usable environment without adding square footage. A single high perch can make an entire space feel safer, calmer, and easier to navigate. Following you from room to room can signal affection. When a cat moves quietly after you, appearing again and again without demanding attention, it can be a form of companionship. This behavior often reflects trust and social bonding rather than neediness. In the wild, cats that tolerate closeness often do so with individuals they feel safe around. At home, following can be a way of staying connected, keeping you within sight and sound. The cat may not always want interaction. Sometimes it simply wants proximity. You might notice the cat settling nearby, watching or dozing as you go about your routine. This presence can change depending on mood, time of day, or household activity. It is not constant, and that makes it meaningful. The cat is choosing to be there. Following is not always about food or curiosity. Often it is about shared space, quiet, companionship, and the comfort of moving through the world together. Play. Fighting rehearses real hunting sequences in miniature. Play fights are not random bursts of energy. They follow a familiar pattern that mirrors hunting behavior. A cat watches, crouches, advances, makes contact, and then releases. When two cats play together, they take turns in these roles, practicing timing and restraint. Claws may stay sheathed, and bites are usually inhibited. This rehearsal builds coordination, confidence, and social understanding. Even solo play with toys follows the same structure, especially when the toy moves like prey. The sequence ends with a capture then rest. This ending matters. It completes the cycle and allows the body to relax. Interrupting play too early can leave a cat restless as if the story never finished. That is why successful play sessions often lead to calm behavior afterward. The cat did not just burn energy. It completed a narrative written into its instincts, one miniature hunt at a time. Cats may bring prey as gifts, lessons, or shared resources. Finding a cat's catch left in a doorway can be unsettling, but the intent is rarely cruelty. In cat logic, bringing prey can serve several meanings. It may be sharing a valuable resource with a trusted companion. It may be offering a lesson, especially toward kittens or dependent individuals. Or it may simply reflect a desire to include others in success. In social cat groups, food sharing can strengthen bonds. With humans, the behavior transfers imperfectly, but the motivation remains social. The cat is not confused about your abilities. It is acting within a framework where hunting success is meant to be acknowledged. Understanding this reframes the moment. While managing the behavior may be necessary for safety or hygiene, the emotional root is connection, not malice. To the cat, the offering says this mattered and you are part of it. Outdoor cats face higher risks from cars, disease, and predators. Outdoor environments expose cats to dangers that are difficult to control. Traffic poses one of the most immediate threats, especially in areas with limited visibility or fast-moving vehicles. Disease exposure also increases through contact with other animals, parasites, or contaminated surfaces. Predators, including larger animals and even territorial cats, can add further risk. These dangers are not always obvious, and cats may navigate them successfully for long periods before an accident occurs. This unpredictability is what makes outdoor risk so serious. Many cat owners choose alternatives such as supervised outdoor time, enclosed gardens, or leash training to balance stimulation with safety. The goal is not confinement, but protection. Cats are skilled navigators, but modern environments contain hazards their instincts were never designed to handle. Awareness allows owners to make choices that reduce risk while still respecting a cat's need for exploration. Indoor cats thrive with climbing spaces, hiding spots, and daily play. A rich indoor environment does more than prevent boredom. It supports natural behavior. Climbing spaces allow observation and exercise. Hiding spots offer retreat and security. Daily play sessions provide mental and physical engagement that mimics hunting. Together, these elements create balance. An indoor cat with appropriate outlets is more likely to rest well, interact calmly, and avoid stress-related behaviors. Variety matters, too. Rotating toys, changing viewpoints, and offering new challenges can keep curiosity alive without overwhelming the cat. Even small changes can refresh a familiar space. Indoor life does not have to mean limitation. With thoughtful design, it can become a controlled ecosystem where instincts are honored safely. The key is intention. When the environment invites exploration and rest in equal measure, cats adapt beautifully, turning indoor spaces into full territories rather than cages. Cats form strong bonds with other cats, not just humans. While cats are often described as solitary, many form deep social bonds with other cats. These relationships develop through shared space, predictable routines, and respectful distance. Bonded cats may groom each other, sleep, close, or move through the home as a quiet pair. Their communication is subtle, built on trust rather than constant contact. Even cats that are not tightly bonded can coexist peacefully, maintaining a stable social structure over time. Introducing new cats carefully is important because bonds grow slowly and cannot be forced. When they do form, they can provide comfort, stimulation, and companionship that humans alone cannot always offer. Watching bonded cats interact reveals a softer side of feline life, one built on mutual tolerance and quiet loyalty. These relationships remind us that cats are not only connected to people, they are capable of rich social worlds of their own. Feral cat colonies stabilize through trap, neuter, and return programs. In a managed feral colonies, populations can grow quickly, creating stress for cats and conflict with surrounding communities. Trap, neuter, and return programs work by interrupting that cycle humanely. Cats are carefully trapped, sterilized, vaccinated, and then returned to their familiar territory without the pressure of reproduction. Behaviors like fighting, roaming, and loud vocalizing often decrease. Over time, colony numbers naturally decline as cats live out their lives without producing more kittens. Stability matters because feral cats are deeply attached to known spaces. Relocation often fails, while return preserves the social structure already in place. Caregivers can then monitor health and provide consistent food, reducing risky scavenging. These programs shift the focus from constant crisis to long-term balance. They recognize that feral cats exist, that they belong somewhere specific, and that thoughtful management can reduce suffering for both animals and people. The catnip response is inherited, leaving some cats unaffected. Not every cat reacts to catnip, and that difference is written into genetics. Sensitivity to catnip is inherited, meaning a cat either has the ability to respond or does not. For those who do, the effect can look dramatic: rolling, rubbing, purring, or sudden bursts of play. For others, catnip is completely uninteresting, producing little more than a polite sniff. Kittens often show no response at all until they mature, even if they carry the gene. The reaction itself is temporary and harmless, usually fading within minutes. What makes this fascinating is how clear the divide can be. Two cats in the same home can encounter the same plant and experience entirely different worlds. One enters a moment of joyful intensity. The other walks away unmoved. It is a simple reminder that cats are individuals at a biological level, not just in personality, but in perception. Silver vine excites some cats who ignore catnip entirely. For cats that show no interest in catnip, silver vine can unlock a completely different response. This plant contains compounds that stimulate similar pathways, sometimes more strongly, in cats who otherwise seem indifferent. When exposed, these caps may rub, roll, vocalize, or display playful energy they rarely show with other stimuli. The response can appear sudden and surprising, as if a hidden switch was flipped. Silver vine has a long history in parts of Asia where it has been used as enrichment for cats for generations. The existence of multiple plant responses highlights how varied feline sensory systems are. A lack of reaction to one stimulus does not mean a cat is uninterested in enrichment. It may simply require a different key. Offering alternatives respects that diversity, allowing more cats to experience safe, stimulating moments of excitement, tailored to their biology. Synthetic pheromones can calm cats during stressful changes. Cats rely heavily on scent to interpret safety, and synthetic pheromones are designed to mimic the calming signals cats naturally produce. These products release odorless cues that can help a cat feel more secure during disruptions such as moving, introducing new animals, or changes in routine. While they do not sedate or control behavior directly, they can reduce stress responses by reinforcing familiarity. Some cats respond quickly, while others show gradual improvement over days. The effectiveness varies, but for many households, pheromones provide a supportive backdrop that eases transitions. They work best alongside environmental adjustments like quiet spaces and predictable schedules. What makes them interesting is how subtle the approach is. Rather than training or restraint, they speak the cat's own sensory language. It is an example of problem solving that meets cats where they already live in scent, memory, and emotional association. Cats detect human emotions through voice, posture, and routine shifts. Cats may not understand words, but they are sensitive observers of patterns. Changes in voice tone, movement, and daily rhythm can signal emotional shifts that cats notice quickly. A louder voice, faster steps, or disrupted routines can register as tension, even if nothing obvious has happened. Some cats respond by staying close, others by giving space. Over time, cats learn what different emotional states predict: comfort, play, unpredictability, or withdrawal. This sensitivity is not empathy in the human sense, but it is awareness. Cats track consistency because it helps them feel safe. When a household feels unsettled, cats often adjust their behavior accordingly. Their responses can seem intuitive, but they are built from observation. By noticing these patterns, cats adapt to the emotional climate around them, quietly shaping their actions to match what the environment feels like in the moment. Cats were studied in space to understand balance and motion. Cats have played a role in early space research, chosen for their agility and balance systems. Scientists were interested in how the inner ear adapts to weightlessness, since cats rely heavily on balance to move and orient themselves. Studying their reactions helped researchers understand how mammals respond to altered gravity and disorientation. These experiments contributed to broader knowledge about motion sickness, coordination, and neural adaptation. While modern research methods have changed, this chapter remains a striking example of how cats have intersected with human curiosity beyond Earth. The idea of a cat floating in space feels surreal, yet it reflects how adaptable their bodies are. Even when removed from familiar conditions, cats offered insight into how living systems cope with the unfamiliar. It is a reminder that cats have quietly contributed to science in places far beyond living rooms and gardens. The first cloned pet was a cat, raising ethical questions. The first commercially cloned pet was a cat, marking a turning point in how people thought about genetics and companionship. The cloning process produced an animal with the same DNA as the original, but not the same personality or experiences. This distinction surprised many people, highlighting how much behavior is shaped by environment rather than genes alone. The event sparked debates about ethics, identity, and the emotional motivations behind cloning animals. Could a genetic copy truly replace a lost companion, or would it always be someone new? The answer leaned toward the latter. While the science demonstrated technical possibility, it also revealed limits. A cat is not just its genome. It is a lifetime of learning, habits, and relationships. The cloning milestone made that truth clearer, showing that individuality cannot be duplicated, even when the blueprint is the same. Cats helped scientists map how the brain processes vision. Cats have played a key role in understanding how visual information is organized in the brain. Their visual system, particularly in the cortex, proved useful for studying how neurons respond to edges, movement, and orientation. Research involving cats helped scientists discover that the brain processes visual scenes in structured layers rather than as a single image. These findings shaped modern neuroscience and influenced how vision is understood across species, including humans. The choice of cats was not accidental. Their visual acuity and well-defined neural responses made patterns easier to observe. While the research itself belongs to the past, its impact remains present in fields like medicine and artificial intelligence. It is striking to realize that the way we understand seeing, something we do constantly without thinking, was clarified in part by studying how cats interpret the world through their eyes. Cat hunting behavior shaped pest control across early civilizations. As humans began storing food, pests followed, and cats filled a crucial role. Their hunting behavior reduced rodent populations in homes, farms, and granaries, protecting supplies and limiting the spread of disease. This practical value encouraged people to tolerate, then welcome cats into shared spaces. Over time, this relationship shaped settlement patterns and daily life. A good mouser could mean the difference between abundance and loss. Cats did not need training. Their instincts aligned naturally with human needs. This quiet partnership influenced agriculture and urban living long before written records captured it. The impact was not dramatic in any single moment. It was cumulative night after night, storehouse after storehouse. By following their instincts, cats helped stabilize human communities. In doing so, they earned a place beside us that persists today. Many modern breeds arose from natural mutations, not design. Some of the most distinctive cat breeds began with chance changes rather than deliberate planning. A curled tail, unusual coat texture, or unique color pattern appeared naturally, then caught human attention. When people chose to preserve and repeat those traits, a breed slowly formed. This means many modern cats trace their origins to spontaneous variation rather than careful design. The process highlights how flexible the feline genome is and how much diversity can arise without intervention. It also explains why some traits come with unexpected health considerations, since they were not refined over the long periods. These naturally emerging features remind us that cats have always evolved alongside humans, not under strict control. Breed history often starts with observation, not invention. Humans noticed something unusual, found it beautiful or interesting, and decided to keep it. The result is a modern cat world shaped as much by chance as by choice. Minecown are known for size, tufted paws, and winter coats. Minecown evolved in a cold climate where survival favored size, strength, and insulation. Their large bodies conserve heat, while long, water-resistant coats help shed snow and moisture. Tufted paws act like natural snowshoes, spreading weight and protecting toes from frozen ground. The thick tail can wrap around the body for warmth during rest. Despite their impressive build, Minecown are often gentle and socially curious, earning them a reputation as friendly giants. Their slow maturation means they keep kitten-like playfulness longer than many breeds. Historically, they were valued as working cats, capable hunters in harsh conditions. Everything about their design reflects practicality shaped by environment. When you see a mane stretched across a room, it can feel dramatic, but every feature tells a story of adaptation, endurance, and calm confidence in cold northern landscapes. The Scottish fold look comes with genes that may harm joints. The folded ears that define this breed are caused by a genetic change affecting cartilage. While the ears are the most visible result, cartilage also supports joints throughout the body. In some cats, this can lead to stiffness, discomfort, or degenerative joint issues as they age. The challenge is that symptoms may develop gradually, making them easy to miss early on. Ethical breeding practices aim to reduce risk, but the concern remains important. This breed highlights a broader truth about selective breeding. Physical traits that look harmless can carry hidden costs. Responsible care involves close veterinary monitoring and attention to movement, posture, and comfort. The Scottish fold's appearance can be endearing, but understanding the biology behind it matters. Appreciating cats fully includes acknowledging when beauty and welfare must be carefully balanced. Bengal cats trace to wild ancestors, creating striking coat patterns. Bengal cats descend from crosses between domestic cats and small wild cats, giving them bold rosette patterns that resemble jungle predators. The look captures attention immediately, but it also reflects a complex genetic history. Early breeding aimed to balance wild appearance with domestic temperament. Over generations, Bengals became companions while retaining athletic builds and high energy. Many Bengals enjoy climbing, problem-solving, and interactive play more intensely than average cats. Their coats are short, sleek, and often shimmer in light, a trait called glitter. Living with a Bengal can feel dynamic because they thrive on engagement and mental challenge. The breed story shows how selective pairing can shape both appearance and behavior. When you see those dramatic markings, you are seeing a visual echo of wild ancestry woven carefully into domestic life. Ragdolls often relax when held, shaped by temperament and breeding. Ragdolls are known for a tendency to go limp when picked up, a behavior that inspired their name. This relaxed response is linked to temperament rather than muscle weakness. Through selective breeding, calm and tolerant personalities were emphasized. Many ragdolls enjoy human contact, follow people closely, and seek physical closeness. Their large size and soft coats enhance the impression of gentleness. However, not every individual responds the same way, and respect for boundaries still matters. The breed demonstrates how temperament can be shaped over generations, just as coat or size can. Living with a rag doll often feels quietly affectionate, marked by trust and predictability. Their behavior reminds us that cats can be deeply social in their own way, choosing softness and proximity rather than independence or distance. Sphinx cats feel warm because they lack insulating fur. Without a fur coat to trap heat, Sphinx cats lose warmth more quickly than furry cats. To compensate, their bodies maintain higher skin temperatures, making them feel unusually warm to the touch. This warmth draws them toward blankets, laps, and sunny spots. Their skin also produces oils that would normally be absorbed by fur, requiring regular cleaning. The lack of fur does not mean lack of care. It means different care. Sphinx cats often seek constant contact, using closeness to regulate temperature. Their appearance can be striking, but their needs are practical and physical. Warmth, protection from sun, and skin maintenance are part of daily life. The Sphinx highlights how form changes function. Remove fur, and the entire relationship between body and environment shifts, creating a cat that thrives on closeness and careful attention. Russian blues appear plush due to an unusually dense double coat. Russian blues have a coat that stands away from the body, creating a plush, velvety texture. This effect comes from an unusually dense double coat where guard hairs and undercoat are nearly the same length. The result is fur that feels thick yet soft with a silvery sheen that catches light subtly. This coat likely developed as protection against cold climates. Alongside their appearance, Russian blues are often described as reserved but loyal, forming strong bonds with familiar people. They tend to prefer calm environments and predictable routines. Grooming is relatively simple despite the density, as the coat resists matting. When a Russian blue moves, the fur shifts like a soft cloud rather than lying flat. It is a quiet kind of beauty, built from structure rather than length, reflecting a balance between elegance and resilience. Turkish Vans are famous for enjoying water more than most cats. Unlike many cats, Turkish Vans are often drawn to water. Some paddle in shallow pools, bat at dripping taps, or even swim willingly. This unusual preference may connect to their region of origin, where large bodies of water were part of the environment. Their coats are water-resistant, helping them dry quickly after getting wet. The behavior is not universal, but it is common enough to define the breed's reputation. Living with a water-loving cat can be surprising, turning sinks and bathtubs into potential play spaces. It also challenges assumptions about feline behavior. Cats are often described as water-averse. Yet, here is a clear exception. The Turkish fan reminds us that cats are not a single template. Environment and history shape preferences in ways that can completely overturn expectations. Abyssinians resemble ancient art despite surprisingly modern origins. Abyssinians are often said to look like cats depicted in ancient art with sleek bodies, large ears, and alert expressions. Despite this appearance, the modern breed developed relatively recently. Their resemblance to historical imagery likely reflects shared physical traits rather than direct lineage. The ticked coat pattern gives them a wild, timeless look with each hair banded in color. Abyssinians are typically energetic, curious, and people-focused, often preferring activity over langing. Their elegance can feel ancient, but their behavior is lively and modern. The contrast is part of their appeal. They look like they stepped out of history, yet they act like explorers of the present moment. The breed shows how visual association can shape storytelling even when the true timeline is more recent and complex. Some cats have two different eye colors called heterochromia. Heterochromia occurs when each eye develops a different color, often blue paired with green, gold, or amber. This happens due to differences in pigment distribution during early development. The condition is most commonly seen in white or mostly white cats, though it can appear in others as well. The two eyes function normally despite their different appearances. For many people, heterochromia gives a cat an unforgettable look, as if each eye is telling a separate story. There is no behavioral difference tied to the trait itself. It is purely visual. Yet, It captures attention because it feels rare and expressive. The face becomes asymmetrical in a way that invites longer gazes. Heterochromia reminds us how small changes in development can create striking individuality even within the same species and the same litter. Even today, cats remain both predators and companions in one body. A cat, sleeping peacefully on a couch, carries the same instincts as one stalking prey in tall grass. The body that curls in comfort is the same body built for silence, speed, and precision. This duality is what makes cats endlessly fascinating. They are adapted to hunt, yet capable of deep attachment. They share our homes, but they are not fully domesticated in the way many animals are. Instead, they live alongside us, retaining autonomy and choice. That balance has defined the relationship from the beginning. Cats did not abandon their nature to join human life. They brought it with them. Every playful pounce, every quiet watchfulness at a window carries that ancient edge. To live with a cat is to live with both softness and sharpness, trust and independence, predator and companion, sharing the same warm space. As our journey gently winds down, we've wandered through the quiet world of cats from whisker to tail tip. We've seen them as hunters shaped by shadow and patience, as companions curled into warm corners of our lives, and as creatures carrying ancient instincts beneath soft fur. We've traced their footsteps from wild landscapes to city homes, from grain stalls and ships to sofas and windowsills. Each detail revealed something small and precise, yet part of a much larger story. Cats live at an unhurried pace. They pause. They watch. They choose stillness when the world feels loud. There is something soothing in that way of being. A reminder that not everything needs to rush forward. Some things can simply settle, like a cat easing into sleep, tucking paws beneath the body, breath slowing until the room feels quieter just by sharing it. If your eyes are feeling heavy now, that's perfectly okay. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing find its own slow rhythm. Allow the thoughts sparked by curiosity to drift gently like paw prints fading in fresh snow. If you've enjoyed this calm exploration, you're always welcome to like or subscribe or share a quiet thought below. And if you're still awake and curious, there's another gentle journey waiting on your screen, ready whenever you are. But for now, there's nothing left to do. The night can hold the rest. Let the images fade. Let the sound soften. And let yourself rest knowing you can return to wonder another time. Sleep well and good night.